The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural. Magic. Ghosts. UFOs. Bigfoot. Extraterrestrial. Psychic energy.
The Calling.
And good evening, everyone. Another beautiful Wednesday. And you guys are graced with my voice. I was waiting for Willow to throw something. Just, at a wall or anything like that.
No, just a little snicker. We're good.
Just a little snicker. And we're just fine. And so, Kimberly, how's it going?
Going good, Jerry. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad. Were you on last week's show?
No, I wasn't. I haven't
Oh, my
been on
God.
for quite a while, actually.
See,
So,
people,
yeah.
I did not put her in a closet and lock her in it. There's proof that Kimberly is still alive and well
Yes,
that
I
you guys
am.
know
Thank
of.
God. Yep. But yes, Willow, that's, which is so graceful, and I love it. So he's not alone.
She's graceful.
There we go.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
What? Where
Maybe
this
not
happen?
to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Not to you, Jerry.
I'm just kidding.
So if any of you guys, watch some of the videos that are advertised in Facebook or on YouTube, you should check out Willow's Witchy Gardens.
Oh,
I've actually been watching some of those, and it's pretty interesting. I really kind of like it. Not that I'm going to be
Good.
going out and planning anything, but
Oh, come on, Jerry.
no.
You could do a green stalk planter right on your patio.
You know what? I tried to plant donuts. That doesn't.
Oh, Lord.
It doesn't. Hershey bars. What the heck? I thought they were all from the earth. I guess not. So
No, sorry.
forget about it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's the way it goes. But I did find a plant. Well, some people would call it a weed, and it is called I gotta look it up. Wild lettuce.
Oh, it's for pain, yes.
Yes, I didn't know that. And there's actually a lot of it right out here. And
Oh.
instead of, so I, my foot still in a lot of pain and stuff like that. I was thinking of actually trying it.
You should.
I would. Yeah, I would do it.
'Cause you really don't have to do anything to it, right? You just kind of,
Well, you
And-
can make a tincture out of it, or you can make a tea out of it.
that's gross. Tea.
Yeah.
Tea's just, so
Tea
what do you
means
mean?
you just put the leaves in it and steep it like tea.
Right. Well,
Tea.
when I was reading about it, it says just to kind of pinch it over and squeeze it, and that white milky stuff that comes out is the, how much do you take though? I can see me
Right.
grabbing a stalk and just sucking the heck out of it, and all next thing you know, Jerry's walking around stumbling, hitting his head on the wall.
Well, you mean something different than normal? I mean, what?
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 Just forget it. We're gonna go
Yeah,
on.
well,
Show now.
yeah, but wild lettuce is a very good medicinal herb that you could use for pain. Totally.
Okay. Interesting. So, Willow, who do we have on with us tonight?
Well, I'm very confused because somebody just messed with the screen. But we have Midwest Ghost Hunters tonight. This is an all-lady paranormal team, and they are amazing. And I've known them for a couple of years now, and I've investigated with them here in New Orleans. And you might know them on Facebook as Just Say Boo. So want to welcome Marcia and Michelle, two of their team tonight. How are you, ladies?
Hey, Willow, we're doing great. Thank you so much for having us on.
Yes, thank you.
Well, it's so nice to have you on. So I've been following your journeys recently with your little live streams you've been doing on Facebook. And you guys are my heroes. I want to be able to travel there. I want to do that. But yeah, I'm stuck here in New Orleans, for right now. But yeah, so what have you all been doing? Like, I know you've been going periodically on these week-long or however long you go, and you just go multiple places, and it's wow, what an adventure.
Yeah, we travel extensively. Usually we do 2 hunts back to back. In May, we typically do a week-long, and this time I think we did 6 hunts in 7 days.
Yes.
6 locations in 7 days.
Crazy.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I've been watching, and I was having fun watching, so.
Yeah, we go to some pretty amazing places.
Oh, absolutely. And meet a lot of amazing people.
Yes. And we were fortunate on this trip. We were the first investigators allowed into the Liberty Township School in Ohio. So we were pretty excited about that.
Yes.
Yeah, they wanted us to come in and check it out. So
Awesome.
yeah.
So did you find anything? Did you get any good evidence?
Bats. Lots of bats. Lots and lots of bats.
We did hear some voices. We heard some disembodied voices. We didn't see anything.
No, and the biggest besides the bats would be that staircase. Just the building itself was amazing, and the fact that it was still preserved the way it was. And that's one of the neat things is going out to some of these places is seeing either how well preserved they are, or if they're a second time that we've been there, seeing the improvements that they've done. So it's just exciting to see these old places being preserved.
That's awesome. Yeah. Do you feel that sometimes when they are renovating or updating that you get more paranormal activity because of the things they've brought in? Like new furniture, antiques, anything like that?
I don't know that necessarily has been our experience. We have a tendency to capture a lot of evidence anyway. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just the way we actually do the hunts, I think.
Our energy.
And our energy.
Awesome. Yeah. What about you, Jerry? You got any questions for the ladies?
Well, I got a million questions. First off, how long have you been doing this?
I did my first ghost hunt in October 1977.
Wow.
Mine was about 15 years ago. I don't know the date. I know the location. I don't know the date.
So when you're talking about 1977, what was your motivation to want to go out and to see it? I mean, that was very uncommon back in those days.
It was uncommon, Jerry, and I'll tell you, my parents were born and raised in Appalachia, which, those people are very spiritual. Right. And we actually lived, they had moved up to Cincinnati, Ohio, and we actually lived in a haunted house. And to me, growing up, that was just an everyday fact of life. My parents talked about it. They weren't afraid of it. They didn't quash that in us children. They didn't say, oh, there's no such thing as ghosts or anything like that. And my true motivation for going out in 77 was that I wanted to see, I knew what we had in our home. I wanted to see what was in everybody else's home.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. So what kind of equipment did you kind of start out with and stuff? I mean,
oh my, that's going to date me, Jerry. Well, so I guess
is it the Mercury? Is it the flower on the floor type thing?
No. Actually, we were pretty high tech. We had a cassette recorder. You remember cassette recorders?
I still use one. Those are
awesome.
Yes,
and we had one of those Polaroid cameras that developed instantly.
Yep.
which we still have. We didn't catch a lot. We didn't document a lot, let me say that, back in the early days, because things weren't as, technology wasn't as advanced as it is today. We heard a lot. We caught a lot of audio, but very seldom ever anything in pictures or anything like that. And we didn't start using cameras until probably 2015, 15. Yeah. Before we started, using like static cameras and night vision and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they had the Sonys back then. Some of the Sonys had Night Shot Plus, but they were expensive, I'm sure.
I was too poor to afford it. So,
Yeah,
so I stuck with the
still am.
Polaroid.
It's like Craigslist, here I come. You can find it. You can actually find some really nice equipment like that. Sure, it's old and stuff. May take the mini DVDs or the little mini tapes, or even have a little 30 gigabyte or 60 gigabyte hard drive. But if I just said it, Night Shot Plus works on it. There you go. You have infrared. That's the real infrared. We can actually see through clothes. I didn't.
That is interesting.
No, if you take a look at the Night Shot Plus and compare it to the infrared that's on cameras nowadays, there's a huge difference between the two. One, you can actually, like a black shirt or something like that, you actually can see, kind of through it compared to the new stuff nowadays. It's really an interesting test. I mean, I'm not trying to be a pervert.
I don't know. What are they saying in the chat, Jerry?
Right.
Yep, I see it all over. Yeah.
Yeah. Kimberly, you got anything for the ladies?
Yeah. So what I wanted to know was, when you did your first investigation, right, Marcia? Right.
Yes.
So did you go alone? Did you go with a group, or you just?
No, initially I drug my then boyfriend, now husband, with me.
Okay.
And he's been very supportive all of these years.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
That's awesome. And now what does your team consist of now? Now, how many is there? I mean, how well do you guys work together? Kind of talk about your team a little.
There are 11 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And
wow.
we are spread from Las Vegas to Cincinnati, Ohio.
Nice.
And it depends on where I'm hunting, because I go with the team all the time.
Okay.
It depends on where I'm hunting, who goes with me.
Okay.
So if I'm in the Midwest, it's going to be, Michelle, and then we've got, my gosh, the names have just escaped me. We've got Christy and Dawn out of Iowa. Mm-hmm. And then if we head a little bit towards like Indiana, we've got a couple of ladies out of Detroit that hunt with us. We've got a couple in Cincinnati that hunt with us. Mm-hmm. And then if I go towards the West Coast, my cousin actually lives in Las Vegas.
Okay.
So she and I typically do the West Coast together.
Okay. That's
pretty much how it's laid out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. What's one place that, I'm going to say it, paranormal vacation place that you would still like to go to?
Oh, that's got to be the Lizzie Borden house.
I heard the owner just died.
Yeah.
She did. That's so sad.
No, for real. The now owner of it just passed away.
I did not hear that, but that is on my bucket list to go spend like a weekend up there.
Gotcha.
Not hunting, just taking in the history of it.
Right.
Gotcha.
Actually, I think they had sold it, and she passed away right after they sold it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly.
Oh, is that right?
Just days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
And she died on the same day that Lizzie Borden died.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep.
No kidding, huh?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, everybody's going, ooh, and I just say, well, that could happen, type of thing. But you never know. Maybe, she badmouthed Lizzie too many times. She was like, okay, I got my chance. You're coming with. She probably just did a hatchet job on her.
Oh, jeez, Jerry.
That was cold. So Steve
Yeah.
B in our chat room has a question for you ladies. How do you get your cases?
We typically get them word of mouth.
Mhm.
Now, we have hunted some of the big, what I call commercial locations, of course, but we like to go to the smaller, less well-known, out-of-the-way places. And we meet people at conferences or at the Kentucky Fried Chicken down
Or
in
the-
Louisiana.
Local and mom and pop places.
Yeah. And they tell us of these places. And then
Nice.
we
That's
just-
the best way to get it.
Yeah, and we contact the owners, and really, I think we've never been turned down. So we're pretty fortunate there.
Yes.
So you're paying them off. What? It's a legitimate question. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking with you. Well, that's really cool. I mean, that's the way, it's so many times you take a look at a team's bio and stuff, and you see that they, not saying they're not paranormal investigators. It's a pet peeve of mine, but usually I just call them ghost hunters that just want to go to certain places for our school or Waverly Hills or places like that, and then they consider themselves to be, a paranormal investigator. And it's like paranormal investigator is more like what you ladies do. My team does, and Kat's team does, and Dark Nola, I'm sure, so there you go. That's it.
So we're laughing because we don't ever call ourselves paranormal investigators. We
Nope.
always call ourselves ghost hunters.
Oh, do you really?
We do. We do. And I'll tell you why, Jerry, because to me, the way that I think about a paranormal investigator, you're trying to prove the existence of something.
Right.
Mhm.
We are not.
Mm-mm.
We know that it exists. We're just trying to communicate and get their story.
Okay. But haven't you run into some cases where people just think it's oh, we got an echo here. Somebody's got their volume on. Okay, it's gone. Some people are just trying to be notable for something. When you go there, like we had a door open all the time on this one case, and they told us about it. Usually if there's a bunch of people in the house, you'll hear the upstairs door open and shut. Well, one of our investigators went up there, and he's awesome at debunking. And so he went up there, took the lock apart, and he said, "You're missing this piece of the lock. That's why it's not latching properly." Now that is a paranormal investigator. We were able to show them that their house was really not haunted. But most cases, I would say maybe 15 to 20% are haunted, where some aren't, where people just start watching these shows.
Oh,
And the next thing you know, they're like, "Oh my God, that just scared me so much the place is haunted." I mean, don't you have people calling you up thinking the same thing?
We typically do not do private residences, only in very extreme circumstances. But we have been to some locations, and I believe we were at one this week where the claims, we could debunk them. So yeah, I mean, we do debunk them. Sometimes it's the window banging.
Sometimes it's bats that sound like children laughing.
Yeah. So we do debunk things, but I will tell you, at some of these places, especially the more well-known, sometimes they don't want to hear that.
Right.
They don't want to hear that, well, it's really not footsteps, it's your loose window up there banging.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But too bad. Really,
It is what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It is what it is. So there was another question. Kimberly, you want to go with that other question of Steve's?
Oh, I can't see the. Remember, I told you
No,
I can't
she
see
can't.
the chat.
Oh, that's
There's-
right. I'm sorry, honey.
I do see one here from Sherry. Do you take demon cases And are you more psychic or technology based?
We do not take demon cases. And if I may tell you my thought on demons,
Please.
I believe demons exist because I've actually encountered one. But in all the years that I've done this, it's been one. There's not a demon in everybody's house.
Right.
They're not walking down the street.
Nope.
Now, that being said, I also think you can call them if you want to. And I think that some of these teams that maybe watch these shows, they think that's the way to do things. We do not. We never provoke.
No.
We never try to summon a demon because that's not what we're looking for.
Right.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
You know, on that so many people, we've had some cases even that was handed down to Cat Paranormal that people claim as demonic. And it's like, it's not demonic, you know, and pretty much, and I'm going to say it straight out. Yeah, the client had a screw loose.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, you know, there's, you know, watching all those shows and stuff like that,
Yep,
it
that's
can
what they
really
did.
hurt a person's reality, you know? So, I mean, some of them are interesting, like myself. I don't watch any shows, but I have watched a couple of the Holzer files. And the ones that I've seen are very interesting, you know, but they weren't hugely, you know, saying that that they're demonic and stuff, you know, just things that happened, you know. So, yeah. So there.
Yeah.
Well, no, I like your guys' ideal on stuff, except for the ghost hunter and the paranormal investigator. You know?
We're a hybrid. How about that?
There you go.
There you go.
We're a hybrid.
We are not professionals.
Okay.
That's right. None of us are. That's absolutely
Yeah.
right.
Right, exactly. There's no such thing as a professional in the paranormal field. People
Right.
can say that all day long if they want, but it's no.
No, we learn all the time. All the time.
Yep. Exactly. Especially, like, you know, when it comes to UFOs, have you ladies done anything with UFOs?
Actually, Becky and I went to Beaverhead Flats right outside of Sedona, Arizona.
Mhm.
That was, you know, a paranormal vacation. But we went specifically to watch UFOs.
Nice.
And I'll be darned if we didn't see some. Now,
Uh-huh.
whether they were aliens or not, I can't tell you that. I can just tell you I couldn't identify them.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
that's
So
a
you-
hot spot. Arizona's a total hot spot
Yeah.
for UFOs.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we were in Sedona, and this little guy at our hotel said everybody wanted to go, you know, they go to the airport to watch them.
Mhm.
But he sent us out somewhere, little place called Beaverhead Flats.
Yep.
And we
Yeah.
watched him for 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. And it could have been completely natural. I just don't know what it was. It was nothing I'd ever seen before.
Wow. What's your thoughts then on UFOs possibly being unmanned and that they're just more like a drone from not from human, but from out of our galaxy being
Frankly,
sent?
I've never given that any thought.
No, neither have I.
Okay. Because I know a lot of people say they see the grays, the greens, the whites even. As a matter of fact, there's a case that, well, we've been trying to get a hold of people to talk with them again, but they claim that down by Faribault, there is a colony of grays that live out in the woods. And so we actually do have things now where we could watch them from afar and kind of, you know, see if it's possible that what they're seeing is real.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, there's got to be more than just us. I mean, common sense will tell you that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You know, whether they're grays or men in black or whatever, I don't know, but there's got to be more than us.
Right. Exactly. Steffi Jean is saying in the chat room, maybe they are like our spaceships we have sent to Mars and out of the edge of the solar system. Possibly. Steve thinks that UFOs come from a different dimension. Well, what do you feel about that? Dimensions and portals and stuff.
I believe dimensions are very real. Those have been scientifically proven. And I believe there are things living in other dimensions that might collide with our dimension and kind of cross over in like a little bubble.
Overlap.
And then, overlap, I guess is the word. And then they separate again. And actually, I'm sure you all know of Rosemary Guiley. She was the one that first told me about that. And frankly, when she was telling me, I thought she was crazy when she was explaining that. But the more she explained it, the more it made sense to me about, some of these things that people are seeing, but they're not seeing them all the time.
Yeah.
And could it be two dimensions colliding and these beings being in that other dimension?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. So, you know me.
Yeah. And we know there are other dimensions.
Yeah.
Right.
And we are the only dimension with time and space.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
None of the others need a watch or a clock.
No, that's something that we have structured for our life, but
Yeah.
Actually, we don't know that yet because we haven't met life on other planets. They might run on watches and stuff like that too, or
Very
a different
true.
type of a system. Kat had just said, I wonder how many of them are of the United States. I wonder how many of them are our own top secret craft.
I think we're going to find out pretty soon.
Yeah, I think so too. If the government really goes through with what they say, that's going to be very interesting to read that report. Though, did you see there was some naval ship that was out and they counted 14 UFOs encircling them. And that was, wow, pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah. And this happens all the time. They're just finally going to tell us.
Well, everything's got to come out sooner or later. Pretty soon. Well, actually, I think we're already at the time where we should know exactly who killed JFK and who killed, or if she died from an overdose. What's her name?
Marilyn Monroe.
Yep. There was a book about that a while back that says at a certain date, all this stuff was going to come out. And maybe now this is it. There's going to be a little transparency coming out. And finally know.
Yeah, I've been watching a series on Gaia called Deep Space. And I've learned things that I didn't know about JFK and Marilyn Monroe. And JFK knew about the secret stuff that the government was already doing about off-world like colonies that our own people were creating off-world back in the 50s and 60s. And he knew about the spacecrafts. He knew about all this stuff. So he wanted, and he also knew that there was a colony on the moon already on the dark side. That's why he wanted to do this. He did not want anything to be secret. He wanted to bring it out. That's why he wanted us to go to the moon. And right after all this came about, he was assassinated. It was very interesting. I had no clue about the how it was put together until I watched that series, and I'm like, wow, yeah, it does make a lot of sense.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to watch it, it's on Gaia. It's a subscription that I get, and the show is called Deep Space.
Oh yeah, yep.
There's 3 seasons of it.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. It's time to take a break. So we'll be right back in 2 minutes. So hold tight, everybody.
Are you haunted by shadow people in the middle of the night?
Do you secretly love all things creepy and spooky, enjoying ghost stories and horror fiction from the best storytellers?
Do you have a true ghost experience you want to share, but no one will believe you?
If yes, listen to the professionals on What Are You Afraid Of? Horror Paranormal Show Friday nights at 9 p.m. on Para X Radio and at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com.
What are you afraid of on Para X?
Our creepy and demented hosts are on call to provide you with all your spooky needs with true ghost stories, interviews, indie music, and new horror fiction. We are ready to scare you.
Para X.
Explore the darkness.
Find out what goes bump in the night. Did you hear that?
Did you see that? What's that bright light in the sky? Oh, we so need to investigate.
Calling all witches and sensitives.
Explore the paranormal.
With host
Shauna
and Vicky from Geeks Paranormal. Wednesdays
at 9 Eastern.
8 Central.
Let's explore. On paraxradio.com.
For a truly unique podcast experience, we have you covered. Spirit Bayou with CJ Dunham airs live from the Third Coast in Southeast Texas on Tuesday and Fridays at midnight Eastern Time, covering Creole folklore and folk magic to strange paranormal activity to new equipment for the field. CJ Dunham is a Catholic swamp witch, a devotee to our Mother Mary in the Trinity, a true believer in our Lord, the Holy Ghost, and Christ. Peace be with your spirit and the spirits by you.
Back. This is Jerry with the calling, along with Kimberly Juarez and Willow LeMachant. And we have Marsha, and Michelle of Midwest Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ghost Hunters. Just say boo. Oh my gosh. It's a heck of a day. So anyway, okay. So tomorrow, hey, if you missed most of the show in the beginning, you want to hear the rest of it, then tomorrow it'll be on our website, The Calling Radio Show. Also, it'll be put on The Calling Radio Show YouTube, so you can take a look from either one of those. Now, Para X has a plethora, yes, a plethora of different type of shows out there that are pretty cool. Right after us, there's Geeks Paranormal. The Ladies of Wine are there to have some fun and to entertain you. And every Tuesday, you have The Gathering. Take a listen to them. Stephanie and Heidi tear it up Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Also, too, if you want to have a little fun, if you go to the Calling Radio Show YouTube and take a look, I found the very first show that the Calling ever did back on January 28th of 2015. Take a listen to it. We've all come a long way from those days, especially with technical type stuff we didn't know about with Skype and all this other stuff and Windows 7 computers and all that crap. So anyway, take a listen to it. And now let's get back to the show. Okay, so Willow, you want to start out?
Sure.
Oh, actually, wait a minute. I'm sorry, Willow. I'm sorry. I do have a question. Okay, now that we're in the second half, I want to switch it up from UFOs a bit. And I know Willow's got it in her eyes. Oh, man, I hate you, Jerry.
No, I wasn't going to talk about UFOs, so go ahead.
Okay, Bigfoot. What do you guys think of Bigfoot? Oh, my God, you guys like... Okay, no, don't you say nothing, Marsha. Michelle, we haven't heard too much of you. Don't you swear on the air. I see you.
Absolutely not.
Oh, crap.
Well, actually, when I think of Bigfoot, I honestly think of those dimensions we were talking about. And I think that's really a great example of those collisions and why people see them and then they don't. And because they're walking through and which is why they're not always there. And, well, why don't you ever find the bodies, or why don't you ever find little ones? So it's because they're walking through. So that's kind of what I think about with when you say Bigfoot. Gotcha.
But now, do you believe a lot, like a lot of natives, the Ojibwe and stuff, believe that Bigfoot is a dimensional being that can come from interdimensional being? And some people believe that Bigfoot have something to do with UFOs, which I throw that idea out the door. But some people actually think it is.
I think that when you're talking about Bigfoot and Sasquatch and the Yeti, I think they all are related. Depends on what part of the earth you are at. I think that whether we've seen or believe or not, there has got to be some sort of grain of truth, as everything starts with something. And, you know, before we settled here, the natives, they knew a whole lot more, and they've taught us a whole lot. So I don't think you can discount what they say and their beliefs. So that's my 2 cents worth.
Okay. Now, Marcia.
I agree with Michelle. I completely agree with Michelle. I think that they are in another dimension. And I think when the dimensions collide, that's when we see them. And that's why we're not finding bodies or, like Michelle said, babies or anything like that. I think that's one of many cryptids, I think, that come to us through this dimensional bumping, if you will.
You know, that's actually really pretty good explanation. But the finding of bodies, if you take a look at orcas out in the wild, orcas, they never find a body of an orca unless it's a child or a baby orca that has died, and sometimes the parent, the female, usually doesn't want to part with it. One actually had one for up to 15 days. She kept carrying its carcass around. And what they do is when an orca dies, be it a baby or an adult or an elder, whatever, they will dive down deep and put them into underground caverns. So they will never come up again. And that's really interesting. So could that happen with Bigfoot? Could maybe they're buried deep, or maybe they've gone through the dimension. Maybe they're in a different time or something like that. You know, it's an interesting thing. I do have to agree with you on that.
Yeah, I think that is interesting. You know, and the connection between the UFOs and Bigfoot, I think maybe why people are thinking they're, you know, one and the same, or they have something to do with each other, is because I think there's a vortex or a portal between the dimensions. And I think that maybe a Sasquatch would come in at the same time, and then a UFO would come in because that's open. Doesn't mean that they are connected, just that they are all interdimensional and they can pop in through those portals or the vortex.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a good theory. That's one I'd not thought about.
Yeah, I've not heard the connection between Bigfoot and UFOs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some people really believe, I remember my other co-host that I had a while back, Alan Yerksa, him and I were interviewing Lauren Coleman up at a Paracon, and he said, okay, so I said, you got the first question. He said, okay, so Lauren, what do you think about UFOs and Bigfoot connection? And Lauren looked at him, looked up in the air and said, next question. Because usually the Bigfoot community does not believe in, you know, the cross between UFOs and Bigfoot. It's one or the other. So there we go.
There's a place between Colorado and like New Mexico area. There's a huge valley, and it's in the middle of two ranges of mountains. So there's mountains all the way around it. I'm not sure if that is where Skinwalker Ranch is, but it's like this major hot spot, and I can't remember the name of the valley. But they are now figuring out that there's like vortexes, and it's like a dimension, like the dimensions are overlapping, and there's vortexes, so that there's a lot more crafts. They've had a lot of cattle mutilations. They've had a lot of different things going on in this area. So I'm curious if I could find out more information about that, because that is very interesting to me.
Very cool. Very cool. So what is your... Or wait a minute. Go ahead, Kimberly. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead, Willow, because Willow hasn't had a chance to ask any questions. Go for it, Willow.
Oh, well, she has.
No, I just give you my thoughts,
Yeah.
And my
that's okay.
Anyway, well, I would like to ask about the other locations that Marcia and her crew had investigated when they came to New Orleans. Because they came with me to the Charity Hospital Cemetery, but I think you went to the plantations or somewhere else?
We did. Which we had a fabulous time in New Orleans, I just want to say. Although, it was really hot that week we were there, like the hottest on record ever. Probably. But I think we were there like in July, so.
Well, that says a
lot. Don't go in July, guys.
No, because here in July, that's hell. And that just is. You have now entered hell, because that's what it feels like here.
Yeah, but you were so cool and so collected. It's like, how does she do that? We're sweating and dragging ourselves along. But anyway.
You get used to it.
And that was actually one of those trips where I had like the whole team together. And I'll tell you, one of the coolest places we went was in Vicksburg, the McRaven Plantation. I don't know if you've heard of that. We had this little gal, Mary. She was 85 years old, who actually knew the folks that built the home.
Oh, wow.
When she was a child. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. We went there, and then of course we went to Bonnie and Clyde's, where they were ambushed, which was really pretty cool too. And we spent a lot of time around Vicksburg. Vicksburg is a wonderful, wonderful city.
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah. Now, we did go to the Myrtles, too, while we were down there. And I had been to the Myrtles and actually hunted the Myrtles back in, I think, 2007. Mm-hmm. And we went again to investigate it. But it was so commercialized.
It is.
We didn't even bother. It's like, no, we're not, we're just going to skip this one.
Yeah, I've gone recently to the Andre Plantation. It's where the slave revolt of 1811 started, and it's pretty active. And now it's a museum for Kid Ory and the 1811 slave revolt. So it's a really old place, and it's very interesting and very active.
Yeah, we want to come back down there. As a matter of fact, we're planning another trip down there because we haven't done a lot in the Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama area.
Yeah.
So that's one of the places we're going to target for next year, 2022.
Cool.
Nice.
Very cool. It'd be kind of fun to do like to get like the calling investigation going. Have guests meet us at a certain location and investigate, which actually we're kind of doing.
Yeah.
We're on October 8th and 9th. Willow is flying up to Humbird, Wisconsin at the Hotel Bar and Grill. That is a place that we've investigated before. Incredibly, the most haunted place I've been to in Wisconsin, and just freaky, just extremely freaky. And so now Willow's going to be able to see how the Wisconsinites do stuff. And by the way, Willow, there's a really great place called Katie Cheese Factory.
Ooh.
In Wisconsin, a cheese place? What?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called Katie Cheese Factory. It's the best.
Cool. I'm there.
Yeah.
I better bring some pills or something.
We'll pack it in ice and send it back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll last, not long. Okay. Best cheese in the world, Steph says. She's right. Okay, so what was my other question? Oh, so you guys don't provoke. You're non-provokers.
Correct.
Okay. Have you, by accident, kind of provoked and then suffered for it?
Well, I will tell you, it didn't happen on purpose. But we were at the Mansfield Reformatory, and I don't think you were with us that time. I think it was Becky and Bev. I had been there twice previous, and this was the third time. And I don't know if it was just the dark, heavy energy of the place, but I got a little agitated. And I started asking questions more sternly, let's say, than I normally do. And I didn't realize it. To me, I was just being the same old Marcia I always am. But Becky and Bev did notice it. And they actually removed me from that particular location because we were getting to the point where it was starting to affect me.
And I think on one of our more recent hunts, not that we actually had any of it, but it was the first time that one of our guides asked us, do you all want to do provoking? If so, let me know.
Yeah.
And that was a surprise.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never heard of a guide actually saying, hey, if you guys want to provoke, go for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was unexpected.
Yeah, I actually did at a place called Walcott down in Faribault, and I don't know why I did it. We had 30 people with us. We had 3 groups of 10, and this one certain building, I decided I wanted to be the last one to bring their team in there because it was the most active. And there was nothing. Nothing was happening. So I decided to shout out and scream at it. And the next thing you know, it was like a butterfly on my chest. And the more I screamed, the more intense. And then the next thing you know, it felt like it had claws. And it was literally ripping me apart. And I wouldn't stop. And everybody's like, pull yourself out, Jerry. I'm like, no, I want to see what happens next. And it just kept on and on. We did it's on Travel Channel once in a while called Fear the Woods. It was horrible. Suffered a lot from that. Never do it again.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's not worth it.
No, it's not worth it. And besides that, I mean, if something can actually reach out and touch you, why do you want to piss it off to the point of it's going to rip you apart? Either in your home or something extremely, MGS is saying, dangerous.
Exactly.
Yes. Jerry and Stephanie were TV stars. Jerry and Stephanie are TV stars. Hello, Sherry. But no, it was a very interesting thing that happened there. Very interesting.
Yeah, well, with our philosophy, though, it goes against what, because what kind of story are you going to get from that?
Exactly.
When we're looking for the story, what do they want to tell us? How, you're not going to get anything from that.
No.
Right.
Although accidentally, you can get stuff like that. And I think every team has experienced something negative,
Agreed.
or follows or whatnot. I think we all experience it once in a great while when we're investigating, when we don't mean to, we don't provoke or whatnot.
Agreed.
So, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huh. So what's your guys' thoughts on using animals to investigate with?
Funny you should mention that. Because, yeah, funny you should mention that, because I've actually got a dog named Clyde, and I think first of all, I think animals can sense when there's something else around us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can see, and we know that dogs can see in full spectrum. I mean, that's a scientific fact. So I've been thinking about taking Clyde on some of the hunts. You know, I haven't yet, but I've been thinking about it. Because I think he could sense something that we just can't.
Well, that would change the dynamics.
Yes. And he would
energy.
He would also find the rodents that we occasionally run into.
I don't think I agree with that. I mean, I think that animals, I mean, why should they be put to a thing like that? I think it's no, I'm not going to say it. You're our guest.
No, go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it. You think it's animal abuse? I get that. I get that.
Yeah, because animals, I mean, they're innocent, and it's like, why put them through something like that they really don't understand what's going on. They just know that that their mom, which they consider us to be their moms and dads and stuff, all of a sudden do this to them. Make them go to a spot like that, and it scares them.
Well, maybe subconsciously I agree with that, and that's why I haven't taken Clyde.
Yeah.
Good. Don't take Clyde. Is
Yeah,
Clyde that little cat thing you got right there?
No, Clyde's 28 pounds. He won't be on my lap.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
That's all right. You're going to give her a complex.
Probably. Bad Jerry.
Oh, goodness.
All right. So, Kimberly.
Yeah, so I'm looking on your guys' website, and I'm noticing all the different places that you guys have done. But didn't you guys do the West Virginia State Penitentiary?
Yes.
Yes. So how was that? And there's another one I want to ask about too as well.
And not all of our hunts are on there because, quite frankly,
Yeah, because
I take care of the website, and you know how that goes.
Right. And I actually, well, yeah, you guys' website is way better than what our website looks like. But because I don't have time to do the web,
Yeah.
So to me, so like when you did so you've done quite a few prisons and jails. Like you've done the Mansfield, can't even say that word. In Mansfield, Ohio, the Mansfield Reformatory. There you go.
Yeah, we've been there 3 times. Mm-hmm.
And so the West Virginia, I just recently went to not too long ago. It's been a while, but I just thought it was amazing, on its own. And what did you guys think?
Well, the history of the place is amazing.
Right.
But I will tell you that I was surprised, generally speaking, that the energy wasn't as heavy or dark as Eastern State and Mansfield.
Okay.
Except when we got into the Sugar Shack.
Oh, yeah.
And that was creepy. But I think it was because the ceilings are so low and it's so crowded to get through there.
The atmosphere.
The atmosphere itself.
It's the atmosphere. Yeah. We kept the team that we went with. It seemed like you could see like a creature. Like, I don't know if you guys saw that, like a shadow kind of thing crawling around sometimes. And you're like, okay, is it coming next to me or what's it doing? And then you would hear footsteps on the outside. It was so bizarre. Did you guys experience that at all?
No, we had a different experience with the guy and the gal that were there. You remember when the spirit box called their name?
Oh, yes, the couple.
Yeah, because
in the kitchen.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Oh, up in the kitchen where the food is at, like where they go to the cafeteria and oh, yeah, we did too. We had an experience there as well. Like it sounded like somebody that was a cook. Hello, sugar. She said something like that to one of the investigators, which was hilarious. Her whole accent and everything was great. So So go ahead. What was that?
We didn't have a whole lot of people, and it was just this young couple that was just kind of hanging out, having fun. And it's like, oh, you guys can hang out with us, no big deal. And we were in the kitchen, and we had the spirit box, and called out 2 names. And this poor little couple looked like they were ready to run because it was their names. And so it was like, does that mean anything to you? No. Does it mean anything to you? And they're like, it's our names.
Oh,
and it's like, hilarious. Really? Okay. So that was the experience we had up there in the kitchen with the spirit box.
Wow.
Yeah. The kitchen was pretty active, I think, to me. So the other one would be, have you guys ever come to Minnesota?
Never.
You guys better start thinking about that.
Yeah.
Put that on the next list.
Or Humbird, Wisconsin in October. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Get yourself a table. They're very inexpensive.
Yep. So the other place is the Farrar Schoolhouse. How did you guys feel about that place?
Ooh.
I'm going to tell you, and I don't say it often, but the Farrar Schoolhouse is haunted. I mean, it is legitimately haunted. And if you look on our Facebook page, on one of our videos, it's called The Thing at Farrar. We captured this on our night vision cameras in the gym in total darkness. And actually, if you're on the website, you can see it too.
2013.
Yeah.
They have an amazing setup for all their website and stuff. You just kind of click onto it and you'll get stuff
and you can see it. Yeah.
Yep.
So our first trip, we caught that.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course our second trip, we had some activity as well.
What is your website? We've only got 2 minutes left on the show.
What is your website? Our website is justsayBoo.com, but it's hyphenated. It's just-say-boo.com. And then you can find us on Facebook at Just Say Boo.
Okay.
And then YouTube is Midwest Ghost Hunters.
Okay. Just Say Boo. Hype. Okay. I'll let one of you ladies type that in and put it into the thing. Willow.
Yeah, because otherwise you're going to get a children's book.
Oh. Okay. Well, this is really good. I appreciate you ladies coming on. I'm sorry we're at the time right now. It went by very, very quickly.
It did.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. It was great to get to know you both. And we'd like to have you back on again, if possible. And so there you go. Just-say-boo.com. And if you're looking for, someone to help you out and stuff like that, you got the ladies right there. And let's see. And I want to thank everybody for joining in with us. And thank you to the troops and Para X and Sarge, the most excellent producer around. And, next week it's All By Myself Wednesday. And that will be with Willow and her guest. Who's your guest?
Janet Borkowski, psychic medium, who is an experiencer and contactee.
Excellent. So now stay tuned now, because now we have Geeks Paranormal is right after us. But thank you all very much, and we'll see you next week.